The competition was fierce until the 15th tee, where Egan stepped up, teed off, and went directly into the water. Lyon seized his opportunity. How did this all come about? How did you become an honorary captain for the All-Star game? When 3'7" Chicago-based actor Eddie GAEDEL hit the scene and surprised everyone, becoming the shortest player in the history of Major League Baseball. Cardinals turned to what they do best in Game 2 for much of this season. It's been their pitching staff. And for 15 years now, it's been their gladiator behind home plate. Over 29,000 fans showed up. They packed the stands and they packed the parking lots outside. You're only 19, you know there's possibly a long way to go. But have you visualized what stepping into the box at Busch Stadium might be like?
Oh, plenty of times before I go to sleep.
St. Dominic and Valley Catholic, great matchup. Two undefeated teams at 3-0 and two teams that are outscoring their opponents so far this year by more than 40 points. I saw somebody commented asking if there's any suspensions tonight. No, there's not. And in fact, the Blues are getting a player back from suspension. Ivan Barbashev is back on that fourth line, and that's going to be a big addition. For a lot of these kids, rowing isn't just a good workout, it's helping them get to college. I think there's 30,000 people outside. The views from our chopper are insane. We've never seen anything like this before, and St. Louis is showing up. Simmons' place in baseball and Cardinals history is cemented. He's got a bronze statue outside Busch Stadium, his number retired by the team, and finally a place in Cooperstown alongside the all-time greats at his position. Took a stroll out there. Next thing we know, Paul Goldschmidt launches this ball right at us. We knocked over about 5 chairs, turned into little kids. I ended up corralling it. I'm not going to take credit for actually catching it.
Over the course of the past year, COVID-19 has impacted all of our daily lives, and for some, ended their lives. For Highland basketball coach DERYL Cunningham, it gave him the fight of his life, but he refused to check out, and his community refused to let him fight alone. In our Odd Couples Housing Spotlight feature, Corey Miller takes us across the river.
I felt like we believed that we can win. You have to believe that we can win.
DERYL Cunningham's basketball journey may have eventually led him to Highland High School, but back in the day, you should have seen him in action.
DERYL Cunningham.
This Chicago prep phenom was a McDonald's All-American and one-time teammate of Shaquille O'Neal.
I just tell the kids the only difference between me and Shaq is he went on to make $100 million and I didn't.
Cunningham starred in college too at DePaul and Kansas State before taking his talents all over the world, playing the game he loved. Eventually his love became coaching, and he settled with his wife and 2 kids in Highland, Illinois. His Bulldog players know him as coach on the court, but he's a man of many talents.
I grew up in DJing. My dad was known as the music man in Chicago. They don't really know like I can really DJ.
But last fall when he tested positive for COVID-19, music and basketball were replaced with one focus: staying alive.
And like the next day, they were like, you're positive, but by that night we knew something was seriously, we knew something was wrong.
DERYL has had kidney issues in the past, and with the arrival of COVID, it wreaked havoc on those fragile kidneys. He ended up in the hospital with a catheter in his chest.
And the doctor said, ma'am, had we put it in his arm, he would not have made it. We had to do his chest to keep him alive. My brother had 4 times, if not 5 times, that amount of waste built up in his body that was just sitting there because his kidneys were not functioning to move that waste out of him.
While doctors worked to save his life, DERYL tried to prepare his sister for the worst. She wasn't having it.
So I was like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna make it, but I'll never forget it. She came up to the bed and she grabbed my hand and she said, DERYL, you fight. She said it twice. She said, DERYL, you fight. And then she looked at me and she said, you do not get to check out on me.
You don't get to check out on me. I said, it's always been the 2 of us. It will forever be the 2 of us. You don't get the option to check out on me. I said, you don't get to leave your family. You don't get to leave your wife and your children.
And he didn't. DERYL and his doctors got his kidneys under control to where he could do dialysis. In 6 days, he was out of the hospital.
And while he was fighting his own battle, Coach Cunningham's adopted town of Highland never let him forget that they had his back.
If something happens in Highland, Highland is going to step up and take care of their people. They always do.
There were personal cards and messages from Highland and around the world. There were loads and loads of food for the family. and there was nearly $40,000 raised to help with medical costs.
He came in and saved our program when no one else was going to step in, and we're there for him and his family. And any little thing he needs, we've got him.
Maybe the world is divided, but what I was seeing through my own situation is that there are some people that care about you as a human being. It's been overwhelmingly it really humbles you.
Now, Coach is already back on the sideline and his team is back on the court as Illinois high schools return to play during the pandemic. He's still doing dialysis and is working towards an eventual kidney transplant, but these days Coach Cunningham is loving the little things. The little things he quite nearly lost.
Every day that I come home, I try to say hello to my kids. I try to say hello to my wife. I just don't take it for granted. When I'm out here coaching today, I tell our kids that, hey, we haven't got the chance to play basketball for how long? But don't take life for granted, because if it's anything I've learned in life, it can be gone in an instant. Just that fast. Just that fast.
For Sports Plus in Highland, Corey Miller, 5 on Your Side Sports.
In the sport of bowling, individual players can go their entire lives chasing a perfect game, a 300, and an even more select group have been able to claim that they're the greatest in the world. Well, for these 5 St. Louisans, greatness struck, and it didn't spare on the drama.
And that's how you do it.
If you're looking for St. Louis's bowling super team, look no further than the Shelter Insurance team in Concord Bowls Friday Night League.
It's a super senior team. I'm the youngest one at 52.
Greg Getzlow, Mark Hood, Tom Schukart, Ron Testa, and Tom Grimm have more than 300 perfect games combined.
I've had over 70.
That was my 71st.
But it was what happened on lanes 31 and 32 on February 28th that put a singular perfect game to shame.
It became the point you were just like, okay, this guy struck, next guy struck, you know, I'm bowling fourth, Mark's behind me, and I'm like, well, I don't want to be the one not to strike. And everybody's striking through 5 frames. You know, one guy's got a bunch of strikes in a row, but all 5 of us had them.
And now all of a sudden, we're talking about a record. Everybody's going, the chatter's starting.
That record was 1434, the current 5-man team's single-game high score in the entire world.
By the 8th frame, I'm thinking, you know, I know 14-something is the record. I'm looking at the score, and I'm thinking, you know, if we go off the sheet, we're going to be really close. We got a chance. This is not bad for a bunch of old guys.
So in the 10th frame, with the record in reach, Mark Hood stepped to the line with a chance to make history.
Quiet, please. Quiet on the set. Quiet on the set.
I get up in the 10th, and probably it was the biggest strike I ever threw in my life to set the world record.
And they didn't just set a new world record.
There you go.
They broke the previous one by 23 pins.
3 more breaks, and we'd have been talking 1,500. I just can't get my head wrapped around that.
Greatness struck on that Friday at Concord Bowl, and now 5 new St. Louisans can claim their place in the bowling record books.
It's a big deal. Yeah. It really is a big deal. Because this is worldwide. There's people, they bowl in China, you know, they bowl in Korea, they bowl in Australia. Nobody's done this, except us. We've made history. For a bunch of old guys, we've made history.
Oh! There it is!
There it is!
Amazingly, the record the Shelter team beat was previously held by 5 St. Louis area bowlers, and now 3 of the top 5 highest single-game team scores are held by teams from our area. We finish up tonight with the More for Less remodeling, Frankly Speaking. And what about St. Louis, my hometown? Specifically, how St. Louis loves its own. Pat Maroon could win his 3rd Stanley Cup in a row tomorrow night, and people here will rejoice as if he won it here. Our area is sending a dozen or so athletes to the Olympics later this month, and we'll rejoice in them too. Every single member of our sports department is a born and raised St. Louisan, and it shows in the care that's taken with every piece of content we create, because it's our town. I like to say that St. Louis is the biggest small town in the country, and that, more than Provel, what high school you came from, or how much you love toasted ravs, is what makes this place truly special.